Hey loves, welcome or welcome back to my channel. Today guys, I'll be checking out this interesting video from the Officer Tatum, and it's titled Sonny Hostin has midlife crisis over systemic racism. And you guys, I'm super excited as always. If you're yet to subscribe to this channel, please consider subscribing. Give this video a massive thumbs up, comment, share, and all that good stuff. And without much ado, let's see what Officer Tatum has for us in this video.
So for her to casually said,
what about the Voting Rights Act? What about Jim Crow laws?
Right.
I mean, I don't.
the anti-lynching law
We're not
passed the other day.
racist country, but I am the only person on my father's side of the family who has enjoyed full civil rights.
Yeah.
In the history of my family, and I am 55 years old. So this is not something that happened 600 years ago, okay? And we're still in the fight of our lives to save the soul of this country from the scourge of racism. That is the truth.
Sonny Hostin, listen to this clip.
Will not go for it, and they're not going to go for Nikki Haley.
Well, there's so many parts of that aspect of the racism thing that bother me. It bothers me because she's not stupid. She's not ignorant.
Yes, she is.
She's not racist, but she's pandering to a base. She reminds me of a human version of those windsocks that you see in front of used car dealerships.
Yes.
She will bend to whichever way the wind blows. And she, very casually said about all men are created equal. That did not include African Americans, did not include women. She said, we fixed it along the way, as if it was a typo that they said, you know what? Let me fix that. Let me cross that out and put, no, it took a civil war. 700,000 almost Americans died in that civil war. You know what the equivalent of 700,000 Americans are today?
Stop this woman. Stop this woman. You see how convenient she said it's 700,000 Americans? No, lady. It took 700,000 white people died so black people can be free. If that's what you want to say. It's funny and convenient that they bring up the Civil War and they say black people were in bondage. It took a war for black people to be free. Oh, really? Who died in that war? White people.
Yeah.
So you're talking about America is so bad and full of racism that white people are the ones died to free black people. Black people didn't die to free black people.
Exactly.
White people died to free black people. And white people helped black people become free. Where do you think Harriet Tubman, who was she working with? She was with Aladdin on a red carpet? You think she went to La La Land? Good white people helped in the Underground Railroad to free black people from the South. These people, the disingenuous nature of racism, it like makes me question everything that they tell us in history. I took Africana studies in college. We learned about slavery. We learned about all of these different things. People are so disingenuous when they act like the entire country was a country of slavery. It was the South that had legalized slavery in the Confederacy, not the North. The Union never had slaves. And then, so half of the country never had slaves. The other half had slaves. And then the war was fought, and the part of the country that never had slaves won the war. And is now leading, I would argue, leading the country. The Union won, and the Union way is where we see the country today. So the white people that never had slaves defeated the white people that had slaves.
So the black
and y'all still acting as if the legacy of this country is rooted in slavery. If you want to argue the truth, the legacy of the country is in the Union. Because the Union won. And therefore, the victorious country that ended up spreading from the north to the south.
Wow, you guys, I love Officer Tatum's take on this. And I think Officer Tatum should be invited to the View to educate these women on what they don't even know. Because you cannot be stating the history of America and you didn't even have the actual fact of what happened. Black people didn't die to save themselves from slavery. It was the white men who gave their life to make sure that the blacks are safe. Let me know what you guys think about what Officer Tatum said. If you know the American history very well, do you think what Officer Tatum is saying is a fact? Leave your thoughts in the comment section down below, and let's continue watching, you guys.
The South and conquering the entire United States of America was the group of people who never had slaves. Okay. And then they don't never want to tell you about black people that had slaves. If you go back and look at the history of slavery, you start to realize that it had minimal to do with race.
Yeah.
And everything
That's
to do with economic status. And white people that came over here didn't have black people as slaves because they hated black people. It's because they had the access to cheap labor. And who gave them the cheap labor? Other black people did. It's convenient to go back and stop at the white man when it comes to slavery. However, the black man sold their own people all over the world. 2/3, I believe, of the slaves were in South America. A smaller portion of slaves went to North America, where we live today, what we consider the United States of America today. But don't stop at the white man as if they created slavery and they enslaved black people. The black man had them slaved up first. And knowing that most of them wasn't gonna make it over that water, and they sold it to the white man anyway, knowing them black people gonna die under that boat. They the one helped put them on the boat. They know them black people weren't gonna make it. But the white man is the problem. Hold the phone. Let me play the rest of that view clip, and then we'll go from there. Roll the clip.
700,000 almost Americans died in that Civil War. You know what the equivalent of 700,000 Americans are today? Almost 7 million Americans. That would be the equivalent today. It took years and years of women marching and fighting to get equality. It wasn't until a little over 100 years ago
die in the Civil War.
that the 18th Amendment was ratified. So for her to casually
what about the Voting Rights Act? What about Jim Crow laws?
Right.
I mean, I don't...
The anti-lynching law
we're not
passed the other day.
racist country, but I am the only person on my father's side of the family who has enjoyed full civil rights. In the history of my family, and I am 55 years old. So this is not something that happened 600 years ago, okay? And we're still in the fight of our lives to save the soul of this country from the scourge of racism. That is the truth.
You know, these bees are on there saying they're racism. You're on a show that pays you millions of dollars. Let's walk through the racism there. Who's racist in this situation? The producer? The owner of the show? The investors into the show? Who's the racist people that put you black woman up on there and let you talk all that stupid stuff and pay you millions to do it? Like let's walk through where the racist people are at.
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna go back 70 years ago. We're gonna go back 200 years ago. Jim Crow was Democrats. Y'all voted for Jim Crow Democrats. That's what y'all voting for. The Democrat Party was the party of Jim Crow. And you sit here today and you talk about racism, but you're elevating a party that carried the racism in this country. And let me say this. Even in the Jim Crow South, this is where I just really wish I had a historian that had the credentials that could come on here and prove everything that I'm saying to be right. Just like today, and I swear it's the same soup warmed over. Today you have racist people in America. You have racist people everywhere, and they come in all shapes, colors, and sizes. It's racist black people just as much as racist white people. Those are anomalies. The average experience of a person that lives in America is nowhere near connected to slavery, to racism. That's not a everyday experience. And even in the Jim Crow South, you know, this is the funny thing about Jim Crow South. If you listen to black people who had sense, when Martin Luther King was alive, he was very unpopular. And there were black people that wanted to be separated because they had their own schools. They had when Harriet Tubman, when Rosa Parks was riding on the back of a white bus, black people had their own bus line. So they staged a conflict on the white bus instead of them actually utilizing their own bus company and making it big enough to overthrow the white bus line or for them to have a bus line that they could use on their own. But no, they went through the process of staging an incident. This is what was happening, and why a lot of black people didn't really like Martin Luther King, because Martin Luther King was wanting to be with the white man. He was trying to force the white man to accept black people, and a lot of black people didn't want that. They wanted to just be left alone. They didn't want to go to school with white people. They just wanted to be able to go to their schools and have access to teach their children what they needed to know. But Martin Luther King was on something else. And the crazy thing is, I would argue Martin Luther King wasn't that popular amongst black people. Wasn't as popular as he is today. And as popular as he is today, black people don't even believe what he said. Consider your character, not the color of your skin, was his dream. Well, he having a nightmare right now because black people have completely forgot about him. They talk about him. They take the day off. They go barbecue on his birthday and celebrate in Black History Month, which is the shortest month of the year. And they forget everything that the man died for. They play his dream every day. Martin Luther King had a dream. Well, fool, you turn his dream into a nightmare because y'all still talking about race and not content.
Wow, you guys, that was such a beautiful one from the Officer Tatum. One thing I have to add here is that racism is all over the world, even up to the extent that people are being tribalistic to each other. Because if you are from a certain tribe and the other person is from a certain tribe, there's always that hostility towards each other because they are not from the same place. And this happens every single day and everywhere else in the world. So America is not exempted when it comes to racism. Let me know what you guys think about this video. I really enjoyed what Officer Tatum has said in this video. He really spoke a lot of facts and I had fun reacting to him. If you guys totally enjoyed watching, give this video a massive thumbs up, comment, share, and all that good stuff. And I'll see you all in my next video. Bye, guys.